Denny Hamlin and championship contender Jimmy Johnson on the front row.
Row 2, Carl Edwards. Boy, is he hot right now, and Greg Biffle.
On the inside of row 3 is Bobby Labonte. Just 2 races to go in this 18 car. And Brian Vickers on the outside.
Back in row 4, Bobby Hamilton Jr. with a solid qualifying effort right next to Kevin Harvick.
Row 5, Tony Stewart on the inside, and Jeff Gordon on the outside.
Row 6, Ryan Newman in a backup car. Robbie Gordon, great qualifying run for the 7 car.
Dave Blaney's in row 7 looking for a ride for 06, and he's right next to Jeff Green from Petty Enterprises.
Row 8, on the inside, Kyle Busch for the Hendrick team. On the outside, Matt Kenseth driving the 17. Had a good race yesterday, the Busch race.
And row 9, yes, Kenny Wallace in the 97 car. We'll talk about that some more. And Joe Nemechek on the outside.
Row 10, Dale Earnhardt Jr. going for the 3-peat at Phoenix, and Ricky Rudd, who managed to survive Wally World.
Row 11 on the inside, Dale Jarrett driving the 88 for Robert Yates, and Casey Kane is on the outside.
Jimmy Spencer on the inside of row 12, outside Elliott Sadler in the 38 car.
2 Phoenix winners in row 13, Jeff Burton on the inside and Rusty Wallace on the outside.
Row 14 on the inside, Mike Skinner driving the 37 car this week, and Jamie McMurray on the outside in the 42 car.
Mark Martin on the inside of row 15, flanked by Travis Quappel in 77.
Row 16, Scott Riggs starts next to Mike Bliss.
Kenny Schrader on the inside of row 17, on the outside, Casey Mears.
Back in row 18 on the inside, Chad Chapman and Stan Barrett, stunt driver in 95 car.
Back in row 19, Johnny Sauter starts next to the 45 car of Kyle Petty.
Row 20, Jeremy Mayfield's got his work cut out for him today, and on the outside, Scott Wimmer.
Back in row 21, Sterling Marlin, just 2 races to go in the 40 car. On the inside, and Michael Waltrip on the outside. He finished 2nd here in April.
Starting 43rd, Jerry Robertson, who makes his first start in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Those are the 43 starters. They're the guys that didn't make the race. Going to the back of the field, Chad Chapman, Ken Schrader, Stanton Barrett, and Kenny Wallace. And Kenny Wallace in the seat after Kurt Busch was released from Roush Racing, suspended for the final 2 races of 2005. Spectacular weather here in Phoenix. Sun is out, temperature in the low 80s. 43 cars ready to take the green flag, and a handful of guys still chasing the Nextel Cup Championship. Denny Hamlin with his first career pole, alongside Jimmy Johnson. The green flag is out. Well, you know, Jimmy Johnson wanted those 5 bonus points on that first lap, but he didn't get it, and he's going to lose 2nd place.
Yeah, Biffle was all over the back of Jimmy Johnson, and 3 and 4, and he gets underneath him on the straightaway and takes that spot away.
Well, the 99 car, Carl Edwards, very high off turn 2, but we'll see quite a bit of that. Matt, something wrong with the 48?
No, BP, but his spotter, Chris Osborne, just told him, remember, later in the day, the sun will be an issue for you into 1, but down in 3 and 4, it's an issue for me seeing you because of all the campers. You just have to be extra careful down in 3 and 4.
Spotters have their work cut out for them here throughout the race. The sun, the structure, and the positioning of the spotters themselves. Driver can't count on the spotter in all situations here at Phoenix. Edwards looking to close in on Johnson. Oh, Denny Hamlin trying to pull away.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah. Biffle's got him in his sights. There's Jimmy.
Like Harvick is trying to take a look underneath Carl Edwards. He's got the nose there. Alan?
One word out of Carl's radio in the opening lap of the race, Wally. Tight. Needs front end grip to make that car turn the way he wants it to.
Well, he lost a spot there. That's the thing around this place. You know, his car worked really good on the high side in the Busch race yesterday, but if you can get your car to work on the bottom, you're going to pass a lot of cars here, especially as the race goes on.
It just doesn't look like there's a lot of room out there to maneuver around. Is there more than you see?
Yeah, there really is. There's a lot. Your cars slide here. You see 20 go by, 7 car, Robbie Gordon. There is a lot of room. You slide around. All the cars are sliding, but it's just wide enough to have a lot of fun. Car can get out of shape. You can save it and have the guy on the outside still have enough room. So, good track. Well, and you can get on the apron too if you want, like those guys are.
Scored up to 9th. Allen?
So, Bill, guys that are 2 races away from winning a championship and in a tight fight, what do you think their mood would be on race morning?
Tense, really concerned, really tight.
Not at all. I went into Tony Stewart's team's trailer this morning, laughing, loose, having a lot of fun trying to win this title. Really, that's been the byword for this team this year, fun, and they're using that to defy the pressure of this championship.
Oh, boy, he got the door shut on there by Jeff Gordon. Had to jump on the brakes, locked up the left front brake.
That smoke that you saw, as Wally said, brake smoke off the 20 car.
You know, I really like what Tony said in his piece with Matt Yoakum, talking about how this is the kind of championship that Greg Zipadelli, his crew chief, imagined. There you see the brake smoke.
Yeah, you lock the left front tire. You got to be a little bit concerned you don't flat spot that tire, because at these speeds, when you hit the brakes and you lock the tire up, it'll flat that one spot out, and you'll get a vibration.
It doesn't take much at all because these tires are only about 1/8 of an inch thick.
Harvick on the bumper of Jimmy Johnson. This is for 3rd. Harvick's going to try the inside.
And he's going to take that spot away. Jimmy Johnson, 40 car, he's not in position to be arguing too much with these guys when they get on the inside of him. Right off of 4, I heard him say.
Now, you see a lot of these guys, we're already talking about a lot of cars being tight. You'll see them drop on the apron. If your car doesn't turn well, you can get down on the apron, and it helps loosen the car. It helps turn the car. But you got to be careful, because sometimes it turns it too much, and you get sideways.
Jeff Burton, 31 car, on board with him as he tries to get by the 9 of Casey Kane with Elliott Sadler on the inside. For a second, looked like it will be 3 wide. And that does not work very well going in the corners at Phoenix.
Jamie McMurray and Mike Bliss on the inside of the 32 car. Bobby Hamilton Jr. Hamilton Jr. had the good qualifying run, but has already dropped back to 24th.
That's the problem. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 32 car had to qualify, did not have any points to fall back on. So the setup for qualifying and racing so totally different. We kind of expected him to go back and lose the position.
He definitely has his hands full, doesn't he? Sadler inside of Kane. Jamie McMurray watching this battle.
All right, Tony Stewart's going to try Jeff Gordon once again. This time he's got a much, starts a better run, but Jeff gets a great run off the corner. But I think this time he will give a spot to Tony.
You think?
Well, okay.
Normally, if you're on the high side getting off turn 2, you're going to be faster by the time you get to turn 3. You've got to be right up next to him, right there, to take the spot away.
Okay, they race for that position. Meanwhile, we continue to watch up front.
And Biffle has closed in on the back bumper of Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Has moved up the racetrack a little bit, trying a little bit higher lap. Has Denny Hamlin said anything, Marty?
I hadn't said much on the radio, BP, but I talked to Denny this morning. And he said, you know, I think there's a small piece of everyone that thinks we're going to go up there and fall back immediately. He said, you know what? I like this kind of racetrack. I feel confident in my car. We're going to try and not only lead up front, but win this thing. He said the car is good enough to win. It's a question of whether I have enough experience to win this race or not.
And Benny, we talked about it last week, but we talked to that crew in the garage in Texas, and they were so fired up with the ability and the performance of their driver, and then the next week he goes out and wins the pole for them.
So when I stopped by this morning, imagine
yes.
the atmosphere inside the pit area, the garage area in the 11 car.
Sky high, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Biffle and Harvick try and clear lap traffic.
And each time that Greg Biffle changes tires on the 16, it seems like it takes a few laps for him to pick up the ultimate speed on that car. We've seen a lot of pressure from the 11 car, now Kevin Harvick.
And Harvick's usually made his move right on the restarts. Start of the race and restart after the first caution.
of that has to do with what air pressures you're starting with after you make a pit stop. If they're really low, it usually takes a couple extra laps before you get those pressures built up to where the car feels good underneath you.
Matt?
And Bill, Kevin Harvick said right before that stop, I don't want anything major, just something minor. We were very close to where I want this race car to be. It's extremely strong at the beginning of the run. He just needed a little bit more forward bite. Marty?
In fact, Matt, Greg Biffle was just talking about what BP was talking about. He said they may have to fend Harvick off here for a few laps, but I think we can keep him behind him. Takes, as you said, BP, about 10 laps for that car to come in, and they did make an air pressure adjustment, Wally, on that last stop for Biffle, so that makes it a little bit more difficult, too.
Yeah, and depending on which way they went, Marty, like I said, if they went down a little bit lower, it's going to take a little extra time. Look at this stack.
There's a lot of traffic there.
Man. Those 4 cars in front of Denny Hamlin in the 11, Kenseth and 17 are all a lap down.
But they're all racing for position.
As hard as they can.
And just in front of this, Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards got around this mess.
And they're leaving.
And Edwards has gotten around the 20 car for third.
There's Jimmy Johnson right in the thick of it all. This is when you have to be patient when you're Jimmy Johnson. You got to just sit there and wait till this sorts out before you can run as hard as you can because, well, there's nowhere to go, number one. Number two, you want to make sure there's no wreck in front of you. But the problem is, while you're letting it sort out, the leaders are leaving. They've already put, what, 4 seconds on Jimmy Johnson right now on that restart.
The 17 car of Kenseth has gotten by Hamlin. Now Jimmy Johnson is trying to do the same thing.
There's Kenseth in the 17. There's Jimmy. That's Denny Hamlin in the 11. Started on the pole. Johnson on the inside. And you're behind him.
Car Dale Earnhardt Jr. just quietly moved up. He's up to the 8th position now.
It's Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin.
It's a little tight. Matt?
Bill, when you look at Jimmy Johnson's racing resume, you look at the point standings at the end of the year, he has finished 5th, 2nd, and 2nd. He said the one biggest thing he learned from last year's first chase, don't panic. They had a kind of a leveling off period, but they fought back. They just ran out of time. He said that's why coming into Phoenix, only 38 markers out of first. Nobody's panicking on our team. We feel like we've got a great shot. We can still pull it off.
Jeff Gordon poking his nose there underneath Earnhardt Jr.
Tell you what, Jeff Gordon has a decent race car here this afternoon.
Yeah, you pointed that out earlier watching the lap times.
Got the spot.
Johnson trying to move away from the 11. Close in on Hamlin. Up front, it's Biffle by 1.7 seconds over Harvick.
All these cars right here look like they're handling pretty good. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, they all look like they're using the same track, which is a problem if you want to pass somebody.
But they got tied up in all that lap traffic on the restart and couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. That's a tough thing about here on the restart. If you're not in the top 3 or 4 on a restart, you just lose a lot of ground if you get caught up trying to get by those cars that are lapping more down.
And there's 2 cars we're talking about. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. started back 10th, 11th. But when the cars double up, that actually means they start 20th, 22nd.
And they're 8th and 9th right now, but they're 8 seconds behind Greg Biffle, who's the leader.
Hamlin is 7th and Johnson is 6th. He's 7.5 seconds behind the leader. There's that 97 car again. That is Kenny Wallace driving that. For viewers tuning in throughout the race, we want to make sure everyone is aware that Kurt Busch, the reigning series champion, was suspended from Roush Racing for the final 2 races of the 2005 season after a traffic citation here on Friday night for reckless driving. Dave, you got some more?
Well, just that it wasn't easy for Kenny Wallace to jump right into this race car. It wasn't fitted for him, so he spent about a half hour getting the seat adjusted and then he had to borrow some equipment. We showed in the countdown to green today, we showed how he borrowed Greg Biffle's uniform. He got Rusty's earplugs, an extra helmet from Rusty. He even got the fireproof undershirt was Kurt Busch's. So were the gloves he's wearing today. And he did get a new pair of shoes out of the deal. Those will be Kenny's when this day is over.
24 looking underneath him, Matt.
And having a solid run, Bill, as he's working on the bottom now. Jeff said that the first run the car was really tight. They have made a lot of headway. The last stop they made some more minor adjustments, but they feel like that this car is really headed in the right direction where they need to be. Just trying to hold off Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this point.
Field coming around to get the green flag. A number of strategies here. Kyle Busch, Bobby Labonte, Robbie Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Travis Kvapil up front.
I think every car on the lead lap has a different agenda going on now.
Ricky Rudd back on the lead lap right now.
Kenny Wallace in the 97 was the lucky dog.
Tony Stewart, our leader, is back in, our points leader, is back in second. Contact up there.
I smell a yellow coming.
Back in here, it's a real dogfight.
So many guys racing for so many different things. Not just the race win and the championship. Points position, that 11th spot in the standings, 36th spot.
35th, 36th in owner points for next year.
And the deeper you get in the season, when you haven't had a lot of success, the hungrier you get, and sometimes the more aggressive.
Lots lock you in if 36, 35, 36, you're all locked in next year. If you're outside of that, you've got to qualify your way into each race.
And fuel mileage is going to be huge here if this stays green. 78 to go. There's Johnson in the 48.
Weather racing, I don't see anything in the world that can stay green.
I don't think it's going to stay
Just
green.
pointing out the possibilities, man.
Oh, they're just looking for a place to wreck, Bill.
Yeah. I mean, there's 77 laps to go, but it's kind of like you got to go right now. Can't be
almost like every lap's the last one.
Right, you can't be patient now, especially if these guys out front, they're stretching it.
Allen.
Hey, I remember we were talking about the strategy being a negotiation between the driver and the crew chief sometimes. Well, the driver generally has final say on that when he has the steering wheel in his hand. Todd Parent, I think, was expecting Dale Jarrett to pit on that caution. Dale stayed out. He told Todd on the radio, I got a feeling about this.
Sometimes you just got to go with what you think.
I tell you what, I saw that right front brake road on that 88 car going down the corner. It is cherry red.
He's been smoking the left front, the 88 car Dale Jarrett, going into the corner, especially down to turn one, and there as well. And I guess it's just a fender rub.
It's inside of Schrader. Now watch this. Just a few laps ago, close call for Carl Edwards, and watch Tony Stewart in the 20.
Whoa.
Oh, my goodness. Carl Edwards inside of Kyle Petty, gets it sideways, and Tony Stewart goes by on the outside when Carl lost his momentum.
Just to be lucky.
Stewart up to 13. Tony in that traffic. Wimmer in front of him. Elliott Sadler behind him.
Stewart's just got no place to go, AB. He's just kind of trying to pick his way through, but he's got to be careful.
Allen.
Just talking about Tony Stewart, we haven't really talked about him in, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, because he has not been moving any farther toward the front. He keeps asking that he'd like the car to turn a little better, but he likes the way his car feels, and I think they're just afraid to make a big swing at a chassis adjustment.
Right now, Tony Stewart leads Jimmy Johnson by 2 points on the championship standings.
Jimmy Johnson is running 4th. Tony Stewart is running 13th on the racetrack. But Tony, if we stay green, will progress towards the front. I think.
That's his plan.
That's the plan anyway.
Got to work through all this traffic. Wimmer.
Very close racing.
Man, all over right now.
I mean, Tony came off turn 4. All he had to do is move up a little bit, get hooked in the right rear, and turn in the wall by the 22.
Well, one of these things is like guys like the 20, they're going to respect the guys that run for the championship a little bit more than normal. You know, they know these guys running for a championship, so they're going to give them a little bit more room. They're going to cut them some slack a little more, especially with 2 races to go.
That's Nemechek in the 0-1. Stewart gets by him.
Moves into the 10th position. With a shade down in turn 1 is a blessed thing. The grandstands that they built there blocks the sun quite a bit. Elliott Sadler, 38, trying to work his way towards the front.
He's inside of Nemechek. Kurt Busch leads by 2.1 seconds. This is for 5th. Jarrett has it. Gordon taking it away. And Biffle behind them in 7th.
Wow. Biffle just closed up on those guys. These cars are so much faster than these 2 guys right now.
He saw his opportunity and took it. Marty?
And they knew this would be a little bit more difficult for Greg Biffle. Clearly the class of the field today. Car is tight when he's in traffic, so they're cautioning him as he's working around these race cars. And again, to remind you guys, there are still 5 laps short on fuel. They need caution flags between here and the end of the race.
Really?
Those Roush cars and fuel mileage now.
Yeah, that's one word. That's not 2 words goes the same sentence. The Yates Roush engines and fuel mileage, you would not say the same thing in the same sentence because they have a lot of horsepower, but it takes fuel to run that power.
So Biffle working on Gordon. Biffle has led 184 of the 244 laps. Bobby Labonte runs 2nd. Robbie Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Gordon, the top 5. Although Biffle trying to get there.
Trying to take that spot away from Jeff Gordon.
Scott Wimmer, Dave Blaney, Brian Vickers did not pit. Behind them, Jeff Gordon, Elliott Sadler, Kyle Busch. Jimmy Johnson is 7th. Tony Stewart, 13th.
Green flag.
54 to go. This is going to get real racy right now.
It's going to get rough.
Oh, it's going to get real tough because we have every different strategy known to mankind in racing. No tires. Cars didn't stop. Cars on 2 tires. Cars on 4 tires.
Rusty Wallace among the guys on 2. Marty, what are you working on?
Well, just to update you, Bill, Scott Wimmer and Brian Vickers, 2 of those top 5 cars have stopped for the last time today. Problem is they got to hold that whole herd behind them, but they are not planning on coming to pit road again.
Well, as long as they run 2 side by side, it'd be difficult for those cars to get by.
Wimmer in the 22, Blaney in the 07.
Harvey, the 29 car is a lap down.
Jeff Gordon, Bill, sitting right there in 3rd position. They took right side tires over. He felt like the shade down in turns 1 and 2 was hurting him just a bit. He's never won here. He'd love to put a check mark next to that on his goal list.
Boy, he sure would. Gordon has never won here. Roush cars have won 5 times, including 4 of the last 6.
Boy, these cars are really starting to use the apron a lot more, too. I mean, a bunch of these cars all over that thing in 3 and 4 that lap.
Wimmer still out front.
See Harvick, there's nowhere to go. He wanted to go down on the inside, but that would have been a crash.
Harvick is a lap down.
He'll get his lap back, I think, if he can get these guys to sort out.
Well, he's racing mirrors for the lucky dog.
Right.
Allen?
Hey, Bill, just to talk about Dave Blaney for a second in that 07 car. Did not hit under caution. Had back at lap 229. New crew chief Kevin Hamlin saying we're good to the finish on fuel. But we got to lose.
Casey Mears, 41, goes by Scott Wimmer, but that just puts him back on the tail end of the lead lap.
Butch Harvick was happy to see that, because now he's the lucky dog. Empty yellow to come out.
Ricky Rudd, by the way, was the lucky dog under the last caution. Scott Wimmer's best finish in 2005, 14th at Bristol, back in August.
Biffle on the inside of Jimmy Johnson coming off turn 4.
Two championship contenders. Biffle trying to get the spot. Biffle has led 184 laps today. Johnson has not led a lap.
And I think we've talked about this a lot today, with the 16 car not having clean air, it's hurt him. He's not as good in traffic as he was when he was out front. Marty?
Well, you're exactly right. Biffle just talked about that, about how it's a different race car when it's in traffic, so tight and not handling the way he would like. But when he was out front, it was such a better race car, so they want to get him out front as quick as they can, but he also has to be patient working through these cars, Matt.
Chad put 4 tires on Jimmy's car in the last stop. He just told him on the radio, look, if you have to follow the 16, that's all right. He seems to have found a little bit better line.
Wow.
Well, Kyle Busch just used that apron and tried to drive up on the inside of the 07 and did it.
Greg Biffle wants by. Matt, how about Kyle?
What a day he has had. Now think back to lap 162. He came on the radio and said, I've got something wrong with my tires. Thought he had a right front going down, pitted under green. Turns out all the tires were fine. Then he got the lucky dog. They have worked pit strategy. Now he's up the front. And like Alan Gustafson told me this weekend, their biggest issue this year has been consistency. He's had that pretty much all day.
Busch runs third, chasing Scott Wimmer, who started 40th today. Wimmer won the Busch race here in 2002.
But Wimmer has some company. Jeff Gordon, 24 on the inside.
Well, the longer this thing goes, the guys that haven't changed tires or only had 2 tires, it's just going to be worse for them, because guys that have 4 tires are going to be better as this goes along.
This is for the lead. Jeff Gordon in the 24, Wimmer in the 22.
I believe the 5 car might be the best car from the route from the Hendrick camp today.
I think the 16's better than all of them.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Close racing.
You got it.
Down to Phoenix.
Truck's going to have to build more seats.
This is great stuff right here.
Well,
Biffle works the high side.
Scott Wimmer's not giving it up.
Like you said earlier, BP, nor should he.
No, sure should. That's right. That 5 car goes back by Biffle on the outside.
This is for the lead. The 5 around the 24 as well. That's for second. The 22 of Wimmer leads. Kyle Busch second. Gordon third. Biffle coming on the outside, the 16.
And the 5 car going for the lead. And I think and Biffle goes past Jeff Gordon. Boy, he's using that apron going in 3, talking about that 5 car, isn't he?
And Jimmy Johnson is trying to catch this back, and right behind him, championship leader Tony Stewart. Single file for a moment.
They need to catch their breath. Now we'll see if Biffle can clear the 22 car of Wimmer and then go after Busch.
I don't think that'll take very long.
Now Biffle is just about at that clean air stage where he was so strong earlier in this race.
All right, Biffle gets by the 22 car, but this 5 car, Kyle Busch, is fast.
39 to go. See the front 4 right there. Then it's Johnson in 5th and Stewart in 6th.
Jimmy Johnson's got to look up in there and go, oh, man, not again.
Can't be back there again. Gordon trying under Wimmer again. Scott. Gordon to 3rd. Allen on Tony Stewart.
way, Bill, a couple things. Tony Stewart, a little frustration down here in his pit because Carl Edwards got off of pit road ahead of them on that last stop. But since the restart, when he took the green in 13th position, Stewart has not only passed Edwards, he's passed a few other cars as well to move up in the running order up to 6th place, while Edwards is kind of hung back just about where he restarted.
You're right, Alan. 13th last time by. Now Stewart thinking about going inside of Jimmy Johnson. These guys 1-2 in the championship picture. Stewart number 1, Johnson is 2nd.
Johnson opened it up for him, so Stewart's down the bottom. Drag race to turn 3.
Stewart to 5th. Johnson to 6th. Matt?
Bill, not surprised that the 20 got by the 48 of Johnson in turn 3. That's where Jimmy's had the biggest issue today on his entry.
Yeah, he's been fighting that all day.
Yep. When you're following a guy, you can see that. So you just wait and wait and wait till you get your shot. Now Tony's going to start picking them off. Going to work on Wimmer next.
Robbie Gordon sitting there in 7th spot. Looked like he's coming up on the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson.
I'm just surprised that Carl Edwards had not. We've seen him all day in that 99 car go forward, but this time he is not. If it's just track position, back in a group of cars, or he has a problem.
Or you got to keep up with the racetrack as well, because it's one of those places that does change as the race goes on, so you have to keep up with the track. What's he saying, AB? Anything?
No, not a thing, Wally. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought he might have chimed in by now, but I've been monitoring for the last several laps. Haven't really heard anything out of Carl Edwards.
Restarted 12, runs 12. See if Johnson get around Wimmer. Let's check the leaders. Here comes Biffle up on Kyle Busch.
Coming off 2, Kyle Busch is going high on the racetrack. If Biffle can keep the 16 car on the bottom and get back on the throttle, he might be able to do something with Kyle Busch.
And this is just really tires right here. You can't run the bottom if you have old tires. Your car's going to slide more, so he's going to slide. Biffle's got better tires, so he can run the bottom. It's just a matter of time. Bonte passing Jimmy, or trying to pass Jimmy Johnson on the high side. Going into turn 3. Got it. 5th spot.
Bobby Labonte headed for Petty Enterprises next season. J.J. Yehling will drive that 18 car. That cost Johnson a few more points.
Another 5 points.
Robbie Gordon
And Rusty Wallace is on pit road. Dave, what's going on?
Well, Rusty was having a mediocre day. Then it got bad when they had a bad pit stop about 2 stops ago. Put him way back in the field. And now he believes that the right rear lugs are loose on that car. Rusty told him about it about 15 laps ago. He said, guys, I can't stay out here any longer. I got to come in.
So Rusty Wallace will have one more chance to get a win in his final season next Sunday at Homestead. Carl Edwards moving forward suddenly. Robbie Gordon 7th. Edwards 8th.
Robbie has had a tough year. Robbie Gordon in that 7 car right there. He's having a good run today.
He's had a terrific run today. I heard someone say that he got his engine for this race from Richard Childers or DEI.
DEI, I
Was it
think.
DEI?
DEI, I believe, this week.
And it looks like that's working out well for him.
Well, they've had all kinds of engine problems. You know, Robbie's talked about how the engine shop kept hoping they'd get better and better, but it wasn't working out.
Had a lot of DNF because of the engine problems,
Right.
and that's been just killed him on points this year.
Yes, sir.
So he's missed a lot of races trying to qualify for the races.
Robbie only one top 10 finish in 2005. 2nd out at Sears Point. through the field here. Start with Matt.
Bill, what a second half of the season. Kyle Busch and his 5 team. They've really had a strong run. 6 most points. Right now looking to score his 2nd win this season. Snyder?
Matt, back on lap 283, Greg Biffle radio to his crew said he's got me, quoting Biffle, talking about Kyle Busch, who he said about half a tenth slower than every lap. He asked for his lap times, but Biffle's done a great job today. Led the most laps, currently running 2nd. Matt?
Jeff Gordon has faded back to 3rd, just settling in. Really can't do much else. Lap time is very similar to the leaders. He's losing about a tenth, though, every lap, baby.
Tony Stewart, 13th to 4th since the restart, doing right now a good job championship-wise. He's ahead of Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards. Can he stay there these final 16 laps, Matt?
A very productive day for Bobby Labonte in the 18, right behind his teammate Tony Stewart. He finished 6th here in the spring, working on another top 5 finish. Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson has dropped back to 6th. Now, Chad Canals told him the 99 has moved up high. See, maybe if that will help you, hold him off. AB, what about the 99?
Well, he's got it rolling now. Lap time's looking very solid here, trying to get a spot away from Jimmy Johnson. That'd be one of the guys in the championship he needs to finish ahead of to gain points. Tony's the other. We'll see if he can catch him. Marty?
Alan, Robbie Gordon told me this morning, just because we're starting 12th, most people think that we have a qualifying setup underneath this race car. No, this race car is in race trim, obviously having a very good day. Car has been loose for most of the afternoon. This will be a fine top 10 for these guys, Alan.
Yeah, remember the call by Dale Jarrett not to pit at lap 229? Looks like it worked out for them. Was able to pit in cycle with everyone else. TJ up into the top 10. And what a day for Travis Kvapil in the 77 car. Started this race in 30th place. He's had only 1 top 10 finish this entire season. They did not pit under a caution earlier to get some track position, and it's working out just nicely.
Carl Edwards around Jimmy Johnson.
Good job, buddy. Nice and smooth now.
Gives Jimmy the wave as he goes by. Thanks for giving me enough room.
Closing in on 10 to go. Stewart has been able to extend the lead to 52. That changes almost every lap. Edwards, Biffle would have a shot. After that, everybody would be mathematically eliminated, assuming that everyone starts the race.
What, Robbie Gordon's moving up on the 48 car. Jimmy Johnson, better be careful. He's going to lose another spot.
All these cars are eliminated, but they're racing for position, and it's worth a lot of money. 5th to 6th.
If you drop it back to 11, Jeff Gordon with a 19-point lead over Jamie McMurray. Robbie Gordon's got to feel like he's in a rocket. I mean, all the struggles that he's had all season.
This is probably the most fun, obviously, he's had all year long. Here he's about to pass a guy that's 2nd in points. So, yeah, that's a big confidence booster for your race team. Sponsors and everybody involved.
So Gordon works on the 48. And these points could be big.
Every point that Jimmy Johnson loses now is just becoming huge.
Run Biffle can't do anything with Kyle Busch. Kyle leads by about 9/10 of a second.
That last lap, Carl Edwards was the fastest car, but 8 seconds behind the leader.
There's Kyle in the 5.
If we were just starting, Carl Edwards might be okay, but we aren't. We're ending.
Kyle finished 2nd in his only Busch Series race here. That was 1 year ago. Kyle Busch has shown a lot of talent. A couple of weeks before California, Wally said that he thought Kyle Busch would win a couple of races down the stretch. Got one at California. Now going for his 2nd. Biffle just has nothing for him. A car that was so good for so long. Kyle has to work lap traffic. That's Dave Blaney.
This team has done a really good job. Not a young driver in the car, but they have been strong all year long. And he's doing a great job today. And
Early in the race, this lap traffic would be a problem, but now with just a few laps to go, they're moving over and let the leader go by. They're not as much problems as it would be earlier.
Greg Biffle trying to hold on to that second spot and help his chances next week when we get to Homestead for the season finale, the race that will decide the championship. Jeff Gordon runs third. Championship leader Tony Stewart is fourth. Biffle in the 16. He led 189 laps today.
Kyle Busch is driving that thing pretty hard. It was sideways off of 2, but so was Biffle, so Biffle can see him. He's trying to get there, but it's hard at this place not to overdrive your race car, especially when you're chasing somebody like this. You want to drive the car in just a little bit deeper, but when you do that, the car really, really slides.
Take a look at the speeds at the line.
There you saw Rick Monroe, the flagman, giving the signal, 5 to go.
Edwards, yep, I figured.
On a 29.06.
0.2 of a second faster than the leaders.
Strong race for Kyle Busch. Thought he had a tire going down, as Matt talked about. Came to pit road under green. Turned out all the tires are up. Got the lucky dog. Worked pit strategy to get in contention. Then got 4 fresh tires.
There you go. Robbie Gordon finally working out the 48 to the point where he get on the high side of him. Just kiss some more points away.
Yep. That's another 4 points.
4 more points. That's right. Jimmy Johnson spending some points here late in the day at Phoenix.
And Dale Jarrett not that far behind these 2 cars.
There's Jarrett in the 88 car. And he could get around the 48.
Yeah, he's making up some ground.
Less than 2 to go. Kyle Busch will tell you one more time, his brother suspended by Roush Racing earlier today after a traffic violation here.
Coming to the white flag here, coming to the white flag.
Kurt Busch will not drive for Roush Racing anymore. Right now, his younger brother, Kyle Busch, is the race leader, coming around to get the white flag at Phoenix. Last lap.
Focus here. White flag.
Busch driving for car owner Rick Hendrick. Understand Rick wasn't feeling well earlier in the week. Hopefully he's better today. This will help.
He loves his race cars and loves seeing victories.
But yeah, nice work, boys.
Young Kyle Busch brings it off the turn.
Number 2,
second win of the season. Kyle Busch wins at Phoenix.
That's it, right there.
Well, we saw his first Nextel Cup Series victory Labor Day weekend, California Speedway. And I believe the scene was similarly soaked. Well, Kyle, what a day. Where to start? First, the battle with Biffle when he got by you. What made you think you could get back by him? He'd been so dominant all day.
He was, and he was really, really fast, and he had an awesome race car out there. I want to thank him for racing me clean that whole time. He was an awesome racer out there. That was great. I had a blast racing with him. That was fun, but, you know, I just want to apologize to all the fans. I couldn't do, you know, my normal smoky burnouts because NASCAR wanted me to come to victory lane. I guess, don't know if you're running behind on time or what, but I'm sure the fans would have liked to have seen that. But I just want to thank Kellogg's, CarQuest, Delphi, everybody that's been on board with us this year. This is number 2, but should have been, you know, more than that, but still, I want to thank all these guys. They do an awesome job for me. Tremendous race car today. Alan Gustafson, he's a great crew chief. Just can't thank him enough. As well as Mr. H. I know he's at home watching. Love you, man. And I know my grandma was watching at home, too. I love her as well, too. So I just want to say that I'm behind my brother 100%. And anything that's in the media is usually falsely, I can't even think right now, but I just want to apologize to all the Sharpie, Crown Royal, everybody for taking a champion, a true champion out of his race car today.